Hey everyone, again this is Ryan. I'm back with another unboxing video. It is a surf green Squier Strat from Amazon. It was posted by Austin Bazaar. There wasn't a ton of detail about the specific model, but I'm interested to see what it was because it was only 200 bucks with an amp and a gig bag and some other items. So I'm definitely excited to see what's inside. As you can see, the box here is kind of busted up. It looks like maybe someone dropped it. I'm not sure who did the delivery. I think it was UPS. Double boxed, so that's good. So there's the gig bag. Okay, it's a model GA10. I've seen these kind of generic 10 watt amps. Super thin here. We'll check that out later. So this gig bag was included in the deal. There's no markings on it. There's maybe like 5 millimeters of padding. It's not a bad gig bag. The zipper feels a little bit cheap, but I think this would be okay to stick a guitar in. The box is it's got a little dent here. We've got this that was over the neck. Here we go. Squier, welcome. We've got the trem, we've got the tools. Scan for free lessons. We do have a small headstock. In the picture, it showed the split shaft tuners and it showed like the gold lettering. This shows just like the empty Squier outline. So I'm thinking this is not like it showed in the listing. It does have a really sweet matte finish. One of the text in the listing did describe the finish as satin, I believe, for the body and the neck. So that appears to be true. So this is like a matte finish. It doesn't have a gloss paint. So this really looks like the Squier debut. I don't have a debut, but those are the matte finish with the same headstock too. So honestly, without knowing much about this, this looks a lot like the same specs that the debut comes with. So for 200 bucks, it looks like this is a Squier debut. I've never heard of this surf green debut. I only know of them being listed in black, red, and like a sunburst, all matte. This appears, honestly, to be maybe a limited edition or some kind of new debut that I haven't heard of. So I'm kind of curious. The color's pretty awesome. It's like this, it looks like surf green just like in the listing, but the listing showed what looked like an Affinity with gloss. Like I said, the big 70s style headstock. It feels good though, yeah. So this, on the end, it's not like perfectly round. It's kind of faceted almost, super subtle. There's one string tree, standard Squier tuners sealed. It's a big improvement from the old style, the pop metal. The frets really look shiny. It really doesn't feel gritty. It does feel smooth. The nut looks nicely cut, so that's pretty sweet. The side dot markers appear pretty much centered. It's got the thin trem block, very thin. Pretty standard, honestly, in Squiers these days. There's no marking on the neck plate either. So it's my understanding that most Squiers now do come with Squier stamped in the neck plate. So there's probably a slight cost savings there. I'm really gonna have to say this is not the Affinity model that was in the listing. There are too many differences for this to really qualify. It does look like the Squier debut, but I do like it. I mean, honestly, this is pretty sweet. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna check some stuff. And I'm back. This is the Squier box, shipped from Fender Warehouse, California, to Austin Bazaar. Ooh, there we go. So this is interesting. It says in kind of like code here, Fender debut Strat. So it does show that this is the debut model, not the Affinity. The listing didn't say Affinity, but the photos appear to be an Affinity. The photos did not show the small headstock, the tuners, the neck plate, the matte finish. The photos looked like the Affinity. LRL, limited release, I'm guessing. So this is kind of cool. I may have actually got something that hasn't been listed anywhere. I did do a quick Google search just now, and I don't see a green Squier debut as of today. WPG, white pickguard, I think, and SFG, surf green. So FSR, Fender Squier debut Strat, limited release, white pickguard, surf green. So, ladies and gentlemen, it seems to me like you can get yourself a surf green Squier debut. It's $200 with an amp. There was a listing that was actually sold out, but before this one arrived, it was listed again. $150 with the gig bag. This was $200 with the gig bag and the amp and everything. So yeah, it looks like there are a couple options to get a limited release Squier debut. People have been asking for more options. I know I personally wanted to see more than the red, black, and sunburst. And it looks like you can get this, and there was a blue one too. Daphne blue, I think. So you can get these if they're still available. I noticed the listing would kind of appear, go away, appear, go away. And then I snagged this because that's what was available. So if you've got one of these, if you know anything about it, definitely give us a comment because I'm kind of curious. Honestly though, without the listing being accurate, it kind of seems like this wasn't supposed to be released. So someone done messed up. We'll see how this pans out. I do want to hear how this sounds. It's sweet though. Like, I don't know if the video will do it justice, but like, I like it. I don't plan to send it back. I can tell you that. I would like to have received a $250 or $300 Affinity for that price with an amp. I just hope it sounds good. So let's find out. We're back with the, apparently the Surf Green Squier debut. I'm going to just kind of play it a little bit just so we can check it out and hear it. And notice that we are using this amp that was included in the package for $200 or a little under $200. I'm just noting that the tuners are not great. I have encountered Squier tuners that are definitely better. These tend to slip quite a bit. They are brand new strings, I believe. So I am expecting this to go out of tune, but it's kind of hard to tune this thing. This amp is, leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, just initially, and I've had one like this before, I mean, I think they're okay for kids, but honestly, even like a high school kid, I would get them a name brand amp. The tuners, they feel pretty smooth, but they do slip. So I'm kind of tuning, so that could be a nut issue as well. So this is the little GA10, the kind of generic, I think GA stands for guitar amp, that's my guess. It's like a generic kid size amp, super kind of laughably thin, but yeah, this is what came in the package. The tone is nice and responsive, and it is hooked up to the bridge pickup, so that's good. Got a little fret buzz here. I believe that was coming through the amp as well. All right. Oh. So it's really hard to get a sense for the guitar with the amp like this. I do look forward to trying this through a nicer amp. I'm not going to do that in this video, but for now I just wanted to show what's in this package here. If you are curious what these things sound like, there are tons of demos for the Squier debut. I'm not going to tune it again for now, but... So the intonation, especially on the low E, is pretty far off, but you can definitely hear that. If this were 120 bucks, which I didn't see available, I saw 150 with a gig bag. If it were 120 bucks without, so you could get a better gig bag, I think it would be a good option, and I think the color is pretty nice, especially compared to some of the options otherwise listed with the debut series. There are some pretty competitive guitars out there right now. There are some other brands right now that I think give this a run for its money, but I don't think someone's going to be disappointed if they get this particular one. I think there are brands out there now that are kind of more on top of the quality thing. I am pretty happy though that this one so far doesn't seem to have any major glaring issues. The setup isn't great in terms of intonation. The action's pretty nice, but there's a little bit of buzz. Cheap plastic nut, tuners that I think need to go. I think it's worth the money. I would rather buy it without the amp though. I think the amp is not good. Maybe just for a small kid. This is time for my 3-word review for the Squier debut. Only the big words matter. The little words don't count. I'm going to say pleasantly surprised and content. Not necessarily like happy or excited, but content. I was expecting the Affinity. This isn't the Affinity, but I think the matte finish, pretty lightweight. I think there are some other things that still make it pretty cool. Probably a good option for a lot of people, but not necessarily the best option for the money. Now, when it comes to expectation versus reality for this surf green Squier debut, not Affinity, I was expecting, so expectation was a very, very low-priced Affinity with an amp. Reality is a totally different model that's pretty decent, maybe not the best price based on the expectations. So I was expecting a $300 guitar with an amp and all this other stuff and received quite a bit less. The guitar is cool, but the circumstances around it, a little weird. I really just think they probably didn't have good pictures for this, or maybe someone just looked at it and thought, oh, it's a green Strat, so I'm just gonna post pictures of a green Strat. I think they should look a little closer, especially for a seller that sells a ton of guitars. Thanks again for joining me for this unboxing and kind of spontaneous review of the debut. Until next time. I probably have a giveaway coming up soon as well, so stay tuned for that. I would love to stay and play, but I gotta get this amp back in the box. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this thing.